easy because you are the only ones who can interpret it. I don't think that's the way Jesus intended it. Okay? The God of the Bible, as one would reasonably expect, he hasn't left mankind at the mercy of certain experts to interpret what he said. And I don't believe in that, so I don't quote the experts. SHABIR loves to quote various supposed biblical scholars, at least in the one or two debates of his that I listened to, historians who criticize the Bible and Christianity, and they don't offer any proof, endless speculation, a tedious series of suppose this or perhaps that, and contradicting one another. I'm going to violate what I just said, and I'm going to quote one critic of Islam, and he'll probably quote plenty of critics of Christianity. Ali Dashti, and I'm sure SHABIR knows who he is. He explains that one of Muhammad's followers, Abdullah Sar, made many suggestions to the Prophet about improving the Quran by rephrasing it, adding to it, or deleting from it, suggestions which Muhammad, he said, followed. Eventually, however, Sar defected from Islam, having at last faced the obvious fact that if the Quran were truly from God, it wouldn't need to be improved in wording and concepts and could not be changed. When Mecca was conquered, Abdullah Sar was one of the first put to death by Muhammad. That's the way they enforce truth in Islam. I don't want to insult anybody out there, but let me just put it in my terms. Islam is a peaceful religion. And if you don't believe it, we'll kill you to prove it. That's sort of what goes on. And they killed him, did away with him as a critic. Now, I have some problems with that way of enforcing truth. And I don't believe you can enforce truth. So anyone who reads the Bible carefully will conclude that it proves and interprets itself. So-called biblical scholars have claimed Moses didn't write the Pentateuch, Daniel didn't write Daniel. It was written centuries later by someone pretending to be Daniel. There were 2 or 3 Isaiahs. The gospel weren't written until a century or more later. Ad infinitum absurdum. In response, Christian apologists have written numerous books debunking the critics. I have no time to go into those details, nor is it necessary. I hope to let the Bible, biblical Christianity, speak for itself. I want to try to simplify, because I've listened to some debates and they can get very complicated and very involved. I want to try to simplify it, if I can. First of all, this debate is not over a few details, technicalities, and I don't think SHABIR and I actually, you'll probably find out this evening, I don't think we agree on anything. Islam is utterly anti-Christian. I was in, where was it, New Zealand, and I got there too late to hear this, but there was a newspaper article saying, oh, we met with, there were Anglican leaders, and they met with the Muslim leaders, and some of them were saying, oh, we learned so much. Why, we learned that the Quran has more about Jesus than it has about Muhammad. I don't think SHABIR or I would agree with that, but it may be coming close. But that's not the point. I thought to myself, did any of these Anglican leaders ask the Muslims, what does the Quran say about Jesus? Oh, it says more about Jesus than it says about Muhammad. Well, what does it say about Jesus? Well, it says he's not the Son of God. He didn't die for our sins on the cross. He's not, denies his deity and so forth. Well, that's what it says? Yes, we'll talk a little bit more about that, and I don't think that SHABIR will disagree with me on that. Islam is utterly anti-Christian. It denies every doctrine of biblical Christianity. It denies Jesus is the unique Son of God, co-equal with the Father. 16 times the Quran declares Allah is not a father, and he has no son. Well, that's one of the basic teachings of Christianity. Does God have a son? Of course he does. And I don't have to go to the New Testament to find that out. Psalm 2:7, Thou art my son. This day have I begotten thee. Verse 12 says, Kiss the Son, lest he be angry, and you perish from the way when his wrath is kindled but a little. If you went to Proverbs 30, verse 4, it's talking about the Creator. What is the Creator's name? And what is his Son's name? Oh, he has a son. Yes, the Old Testament says that. Isaiah 9, 6 and 7. For unto us a child is born, that's the babe born in Bethlehem. Unto us a son is given, that's the eternal Son of God who became a man. The government will be upon his shoulders. Well, that must be talking about the Messiah. His name shall be called Wonderful, Counselor, the Mighty God, the Everlasting Father. Daniel 3, 24 and 25, you probably remember the story of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. They wouldn't bow down to this idol. They were thrown into the furnace. And Nebuchadnezzar comes looking there, and he's astonished. He says, I thought we threw 3 men in there. There's 4 of them. And the 4th is like the Son of God. Wow. I think the Bible from Genesis to Revelation tells us that God has a son. Now, Islam says that belief in the Trinity sends one to hell. You go straight to hell, you believe that? And that's Surah 572. The Quran denies the need for redemption, one of the basic teachings of Christianity. It claims that Allah can forgive whomever he will without the penalty being paid. He can just be merciful and forgive. It denies that Christ died for our sins on the cross, Surah 4, 157, that he even died on the cross. In fact, asserts that his death for sin wasn't needed. This is an unjust idea that the innocent should die for the guilty. Instead of Christ dying in our place, the very foundation of biblical Christianity, Islam says, and there are some differences of opinion on this, someone died in his place. He was made. Allah made it appear to the Jews that it was the Son of God who died. Instead of Christ dying in our place, someone died in his place, apparently. And so it's denying the very foundation of Christianity. He was taken alive to heaven. Islam also denies the resurrection, another foundational doctrine of Christianity.